The phone rang, and my parents' voices trembled. "Don't come home," they said. Each word heavy. "Your sister doesn't want you there." I froze. The sentence hung in the air like thunder. And I laughed, not from humor, but disbelief. A wild, desperate laugh that cracked under its own weight. Surely this was a mistake. Surely they were teasing. But the silence that followed was darker than any joke could explain. My heart pounded. The storm cloud inside me thickened, suffocating. I pressed the phone closer, waiting for them to soften. Waiting for the explanation that never came. Instead, their voices faltered. As if they were holding back something too dangerous to say aloud. "She doesn't want drama," they repeated. Drama. The word echoed like thunderclaps, painting me as the storm itself. Unwelcome. Destructive. I whispered, trembling, "What happened?" But silence was the only reply. And in that silence, I thought I heard a half-spoken word. Cut off. Swallowed. As though they had almost revealed something before fear pulled it back. That fragment lodged in me like lightning. A clue too faint to ignore. My chest tightened. Tears rose. But I bit them back, clinging to curiosity like a lifeline. What could possibly have turned her against me? Was it something I said? Something I did? Or something I never even knew? The questions stabbed one after another, relentless. And I could almost hear her voice in my head. Cold. Distant. "Don't come back." My parents' voices wavered again. One of them broke into a muffled sob. That sound shattered me more than the words themselves. Because if they were crying, then something was truly wrong. I pressed harder. Pleading. But every answer was a wall. Every pause a cliffhanger that left me dangling. I whispered her name into the phone, hoping it would soften them. But nothing softened. Nothing broke. My tears finally spilled, hot and relentless. "Please," I whispered, "just tell me why." But they didn't. And the absence of truth became its own truth. A storm cloud wrapping around me. Suffocating. I laughed again. Wild. Broken. Because sometimes laughter is the only way to keep from drowning. But even that laugh felt like betrayal. Mocking the pain clawing at me. My parents repeated only, "Don't come home." And I realized the words were not just a warning. They were a sentence. A punishment. A mystery that demanded unraveling. My chest ached. My throat burned. And I whispered into the void. "I will find out." And I knew I couldn't rest until I uncovered the truth. I closed my eyes, and the storm of my parents' words drifts into the background. Her laughter echoes. Bright. Unstoppable. But this time, it feels too far away. We were inseparable then. Running barefoot across the tiles. Collapsing in heaps of giggles. Whispering secrets under blankets. Ah, those nights felt endless. The world was small. Safe. Ours. I remember thunderstorms. Her hand gripping mine, trembling. I whispered silly jokes. She laughed, even through fear. That laugh was my anchor. But now, that same sister doesn't want me home. The contrast slices through me. How can the girl who once begged me never to leave be the woman who now insists I stay away? The memories keep flooding. Her voice calling my name with joy. Her eyes lighting up when I walked into the room. The way she'd steal my things just to get my attention. I smile at the thought. Then the smile fades. Because every memory feels like betrayal now. A reminder of what's been lost. And yet, not every memory was perfect. There was one moment. Her laughter faltered. Her eyes clouded. Just for a second. I brushed it off then. But now, I wonder if that shadow was the beginning. I try to laugh, but the sound is hollow. It doesn't belong to those golden days. It belongs to the present, heavy, broken, uncertain. And still, the hook pulls tighter. What happened between then and now? What wound grew so deep it erased all that innocence? Was it me? Was it something I failed to see? The questions gnaw at me. But the memories fight back, refusing to let go. Her promises echo. Promise me we'll always be close. That line rings in my ears now. Cruel. Mocking. I can almost hear her laughter again. But this time, it's distant. Fading. Like a ghost that refuses to return. And I wonder, did she bury those memories too? Did she erase them, one by one, until nothing remained but anger? Or are they still inside her, hidden, waiting to resurface? The thought keeps me dangling. Because if those memories still live in her heart, then maybe there's hope. Maybe the bond isn't gone. Maybe it's only buried beneath something I don't yet understand. But if she's erased them, then I am nothing more than a stranger. And the laughter, the awe moments, the storms we survived together, all of it belongs to me alone now. I whisper into the silence, do you remember? Knowing she can't hear me. Knowing the answer may already be no. And yet, I can't stop asking. Because the memories are too loud. Too alive. Too precious to let die quietly. And I know, the truth of why she doesn't want me home is tangled somewhere inside those memories, waiting to be uncovered. Their silence was louder than any words. I asked again. What happened? Nothing. The pause stretched. Heavy. Suffocating. I could hear them breathing, but not speaking. And that silence felt like a wall I couldn't climb. I pressed harder. Tell me. Still nothing. Only the faint tremor in their voices, as if fear itself had taken hold. One of them whispered my name. Soft. Broken. Then stopped. As though even saying it carried danger. The silence became its own answer. A shadow. A secret. Something they refused to let escape. I tried to laugh, but the sound was jagged. It shattered, then died in the air. My chest tightened. I could feel tears rising. But I bit them back. Because I needed clarity. Not weakness. Their voices trembled again. I thought I heard a word, half-formed, swallowed. It slipped away before I could catch it. And that fragment haunted me. Because it meant there was something they didn't want me to know. I whispered, why won't you tell me? No reply. Only the faint sound of weeping, muffled, hidden. That broke me more than the silence itself. Because if they were crying, then something was truly wrong. The hook tightened. Were they protecting her? Or protecting me? Was the truth too dangerous to speak aloud? I begged. I pleaded. Every word sharper than the last. But every answer was a void. Every pause a cliffhanger that left me dangling. I could almost hear her voice in my head. Cold. Distant. Don't come back. And my parents' silence made it real. Made it final. The storm cloud inside me grew darker. I whispered again, please. But silence swallowed everything. And until they spoke, I would be left in the dark. She has always been a shadow in my life. Bright when she wanted to be. Dark when she chose. My sister, unpredictable. I remember her strength. The way she could command a room with nothing more than a glance. People listened. People followed. And I admired that. But strength has edges. Sharp ones. Her words could cut. Her silence could wound. She was fragile too. Though she never admitted it. I saw it in the way her hands trembled when no one was watching. I saw it in her eyes, the flicker of fear she hid behind laughter. Awe. I wanted to protect her. But she never let me. Now, my parents say she doesn't want me home. And I wonder, is it her strength speaking? Or her fragility? Is she pushing me away to prove control? or to hide something she can't face. The hook tightens, because her shadow has always been double-edged. One side light, one side dark, and I never knew which side I would meet. I think back to the fights, the shouting matches that ended in silence, the tears she refused to show, the way she once slammed a door so hard the house shook. I laughed then, nervous, trying to break the tension. But the laugh died quickly, because her anger was real. Her pain was deeper than I understood. And now, that pain has grown into exile. "Don't come home," they said. Her words delivered through them, her shadow stretching across my life once again. I can almost see her face. Eyes narrowed, jaw tight, her voice sharp, saying, "Stay away." And yet, beneath it, I imagine the tremble, the fragility she hides, the part of her that still remembers the storms we survived together. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the shadow has consumed her completely. Maybe the sister I knew is gone, and all that remains is distance. Cold. Final. The thought claws at me. Because if she has erased me, then every laugh, every awe, every tear we shared was nothing more than smoke. And smoke slips through your fingers, no matter how tightly you try to grasp it. I whisper into the silence, "Why, sister?" But the shadow answers nothing. Only silence. Only distance. And I know I will have to step into her shadow, no matter how dark it becomes. I imagine it, defying their warning, walking back home anyway. The thought alone makes my chest tighten. Every step toward that door feels like walking into a storm. My parents' voices echo in my head. "Don't come home." Her voice layered beneath it. Cold. Final. But curiosity claws at me. What waits behind that door? What truth is buried in her silence? What secret are they all protecting? I picture the street. Empty. Silent. The house at the end glowing faintly, as if it knows I'm coming. My heart pounds faster, each beat louder than the last. I laugh nervously, the sound sharp, broken, because the fear is real. And laughter is the only shield I have left. I imagine the key in my hand, turning, clicking, the door creaking open, and her shadow waiting inside. Would she scream? Would she weep? Would she turn her back and vanish into silence? The possibilities twist around me, each one heavier than the last. I whisper her name in my mind. It trembles. It shakes. It feels dangerous, even unspoken. The hook tightens. Because if I walk back home, I may uncover the truth. But I may also lose her forever. I see flashes of her face. Eyes narrowed, jaw tight, her voice sharp, cutting through me, "Stay away." And yet, beneath it, I imagine the tremble, the fragility she hides, the part of her that still remembers the storms we survived together. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the door hides only anger, only exile, only the final fracture of a bond one thought unbreakable. My chest aches. My throat burns. And still, the thought won't leave me. Because the forbidden return is more than defiance. It's the only way to know. I whisper into the silence, "What if I come back?" And the silence answers nothing. Only fear. Only suspense. And I know, if I take that step, everything will change. Forever. I sat down to write her a letter. The words spilled easily at first. Apologies. Memories. Promises I wanted to keep. I wrote about the storms we survived together. The laughter that once filled our nights. The way she clung to me when fear was close. And how I never wanted to let her go. But the pen trembled in my hand. Because every word felt fragile. Every sentence felt like it could break her further. I tried to explain. Tried to tell her I wasn't the storm. That I wasn't the drama she feared. That I was still her brother. Still the one who whispered jokes in the dark. The ink blurred. Tears fell onto the page, smudging the words until they looked like secrets. Secrets I couldn't control. I laughed softly, broken. Because even in writing, I couldn't reach her. The letter felt powerless. Empty. Like speaking into silence. I folded it once. Twice. Then stopped. Because I knew I would never send it. What if she read it and turned colder? What if the words I thought were healing only deepened the wound? The paper trembled in my hands. I imagined her opening it. Her eyes narrowing. Her voice sharp, "Stay away." And the thought crushed me. So I left it unsent. Hidden. Buried in a drawer. A confession locked away. And yet, the letter still speaks. Every time I see it, I hear the words I never said. The apologies. The laughter. The tears. All trapped in ink. I whisper into the silence, "If only you knew." But she doesn't. She never will. Because the letter was never sent. And the truth remains sealed. Waiting. Burning. Unspoken. The silence had stretched too far. Too long. And something inside me snapped. I couldn't keep waiting. Couldn't keep dangling on half-spoken words. The storm cloud inside me was no longer just heavy. It was breaking. Cracking. Demanding release. I shouted into the phone. "Tell me the truth." My voice shook, sharp, desperate. But their reply was the same. Silence. Trembling. Weeping. The sound of it tore through me. Because silence was no longer protection. It was punishment. And I couldn't bear it. I slammed my fist against the table. The laugh that escaped was jagged, wild. It shattered, then died in the air. And I realized I was unraveling. Memories collided with anger. Her laughter. Her promises. Her shadow. All of it twisting into a single question: why? I begged again. I pleaded. Every word sharper than the last. But every answer was a void. Every pause a cliffhanger that left me dangling. The breaking point had come. I couldn't stay passive. I couldn't stay silent. If they wouldn't speak, I would find out myself. My chest burned. My throat ached. And I whispered into the void, "I will uncover it. No matter what it costs." And in that moment, I knew the story had shifted. No more waiting. No more silence. Only the path forward. Toward confrontation. Toward truth. I see her. At last. The sister who once laughed beside me. Now standing like a stranger. Her eyes lock onto mine. Cold. Unyielding. And for a moment, I forget how to breathe. I whisper her name. It trembles in the air. But she doesn't flinch. Doesn't soften. Only silence. I step closer. Every movement feels dangerous. Every breath feels like trespass. Her shadow stretches toward me, heavy, suffocating. I try to speak. The words stumble. I don't understand. Why? My voice cracks. But she doesn't answer. Her jaw tightens. Her eyes narrow. And I see it, the flicker. A tremble she tries to hide. Fragility buried beneath the armor. I press harder. Tell me the truth. The demand echoes, sharp, desperate. But her silence is sharper still. Memories crash against the moment. Her laughter. Her promises. Her shadow. All of it colliding with the reality before me. I laugh nervously, broken. It shatters, then dies in the air. Because this is a reunion. It's confrontation. And the truth is balanced on the edge of her silence. Her lips part, Just slightly. As if words are about to escape. But then, nothing. Only the storm in her eyes. The hook tightens. Because I know she holds the answer. I can see it burning behind her stare. But she won't release it. Not yet. I whisper again, softer this time. Please. And the word hangs between us. Fragile. Unanswered. And I know. This confrontation is only the beginning. The truth is still hidden. Still waiting. Still dangerous. Her lips parted. At last. The silence cracked. And the words began to spill. Not loud. Not sharp. But trembling. Fragile. Like glass about to shatter. She whispered truths I wasn't ready to hear. Fragments. Pieces. Each one heavier than the last. You don't understand, she said. Her voice broke. You never saw what I saw. My chest tightened. Because every word carried weight. Every pause carried danger. And I realized this was the moment. The revelation. She spoke of wounds I didn't know existed. Of nights I thought were laughter. But for her, were shadows. Of promises I thought were unbreakable. But for her, were chains. Her eyes burned. Tears rising, but refusing to fall. And I saw it, the fracture. The hidden storm she had carried alone. I tried to speak. Tried to defend. But my voice faltered. Because her truth was undeniable. And it cut deeper than silence ever could. She whispered again. Don't come back, because you never really saw me. The words pierced. Final. Unforgiving. I stood frozen. Memories colliding with her confession. Every laugh. Every awe. Every storm we survived together. All rewritten in an instant. The revelation was not just about her. It was about me. About what I missed. About what I failed to see. And I knew. Nothing would ever be the same. Not after this. Not after the truth had finally surfaced. The truth had surfaced. But instead of clarity, it left me shattered. Her words echoed in my head. You never saw me. Each syllable cut deeper than silence ever could. I replayed every memory. Every laugh. Every promise. Every storm we survived together. And now, all of it felt poisoned. Twisted. Rewritten. My chest burned. My throat ached. Because guilt had taken root. Had I been blind all along? Had I missed the shadows hiding in her eyes? Anger rose too. Not at her. But at myself. For failing to see. For failing to protect. For failing to understand. I whispered into the void. Why didn't you tell me sooner? But the question dissolved. Because I knew the answer. She had carried it alone. And I had let her. The letter I never sent. The laughter that died in the air. The silence that swallowed everything. All of it pressed down on me now. Heavy. Unforgiving. I laughed again, broken. It shattered, then died in the air. Because sometimes laughter is the only way to keep from drowning. But even that laugh felt cruel. Mocking the pain clawing at me. The aftermath was not relief. It was devastation. A storm without end. A truth without comfort. And I knew. This was not the conclusion. It was only the beginning of a deeper unraveling. Because once the truth is spoken, you can never go back. The revelation had torn me apart. But in the wreckage, I searched for meaning. Her words echoed. You never saw me. They rang like a sentence. Final. Unforgiving. I sifted through memories. Each one a fragment. Each one a clue. Her laughter. Her silence. Her shadow. All of it asking me to look deeper. I wondered if I had been blind. Blind to the tremble in her hands. Blind to the flicker in her eyes. Blind to the storm she carried alone. The guilt pressed down. But beneath it, a question rose. Could meaning still be found? Could the bond we once had be rebuilt? Or was it already ash? I whispered into the silence. What did I miss? The words hung, fragile, unanswered. I thought of the letter never sent. The words trapped in ink. The promises buried in drawers. And I realized, meaning might not come from her. It might have to come from me. I laughed softly, broken. It shattered, then died in the air. Because even in searching, I felt the weight of failure. Yet still, I searched. Through memories. Through shadows. Through silence. Because meaning was the only lifeline left. And I knew, if I could uncover it, perhaps I could uncover her. Perhaps I could uncover us. But if I failed, then the search itself would be the last echo. The last attempt. The last hope. And so I whispered, I will keep searching. Letting the words linger. Letting the silence breathe. Because the search for meaning was all I had left. The truth was out. The aftermath still burned. And now, I stood at the edge of a choice. Do I fight for her? Push against the silence? Risk reopening wounds that may never heal? Or do I let go? Accept the distance. Accept that the bond we once had is gone. My chest tightened. Because either path carried pain. Either path carried loss. If I fight, I may lose her forever. If I let go, I may lose myself. I whispered her name. It trembled in the air. No answer. Only silence. Only shadow. I thought of the laughter. The promises. The storms we survived together. And I thought of her words. You never saw me. Both truths pulling me in opposite directions. The choice was mine. But neither felt like salvation. Both felt like surrender. I laughed softly, broken. It shattered, then died in the air. Because even in choosing, I knew I would bleed. And so I stood there. Between past and future. Between hope and exile. Between love and silence. And I whispered, I will have to decide. A pause. Heavy. Unforgiving. Because the final choice was waiting. And once made, there would be no turning back.